Yeah, we're here. Hi, guys. Welcome to another session of
Hello.
TTRPG Talks. And we are now in session six. Would you believe that? Season two. Damn. Uh, this is
Congratulations.
thank you for this being the sixth session. The last season, season one, I think we had about five. So this is more than season one already. So yes, hi PJC, hello, hi Pao. Right now,
Hi,
TTRPG
Paolo.
Talks is more or less a show where we get to nerd out about tabletop RPGs, the systems that we'd
Yeah.
like to get into, but unfortunately do not have the time to dive into. So we grab somebody we can talk to and help us understand the system and
I was kidnapped, guys.
yeah. No, that's all. He was totally, it was in his free will, don't say anything. Not kidding. But yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah, joke lang. But yeah, we got Arj as our special guest. Really cool.
Hello.
Last week we had Jay who talked about Fallout. Just a heads up to everyone. I
I just
know.
watched that episode.
Uy, thank you. But
Uh,
yeah, just a heads up for people who wanted to watch the actual play in the private server in the Discord server. We moved it to this Saturday, same time, 4 p.m. to 9. That we just moved it due to IRL stuff from the GM, but instead of last Saturday with the live actual play, we moved it to this Saturday. So if you guys want to check that out, you guys still join the Discord, and I can give you guys the role for Fallout Pals to watch me and a bunch of peeps play Fallout. But for now, we're gonna focus on Savage Worlds with our lovely guest Arj from
yes.
Arj Game Room. Woot woot. So,
Hello.
in this particular section, of course, we're gonna get to know our lovely guest who is joining us
Eto na.
today.
Ito
Um,
na, ito na.
mga magkakaalaman na. Yes. Of course, the first question before we get into a really fun icebreaker, how did you get started in TTRPGs? Like everybody has an origin story. I've heard
Oo
a
nga
lot
eh.
of
I
interesting,
watched the one of heard about the one for Toby tapos
yeah, yeah, and with
si
Jay,
Jay yun ano to yun mail order na ano to na
yeah, it's like you
na
feel alam mo what year, you know what
uh
year it is.
I'll go with that tradition, and um, there was a time we live in the province in Nueva Ecija, and then every Christmas when we were young, we'd go to our cousin's place in Las Piñas. So there's this long travel there. So when you're younger, when you travel somewhere far, it's like an adventure. So we were so excited, but once we got there, there was nothing to do, not much. I mean, for ano to, boys. So I had nothing to do, so I kind of just went through my cousin's stuff.
Hello.
So, but I found in a drawer a big red box. The
Hello.
first, the D&D big red box. So yun, that's how I started with TTRPG. So I read through that. Yun pa yun ano to, yun pa yung dice the dice that used to be um uh red siya, and then it comes with the yellow crayon
Oh,
or
the one you have to
chalk.
color. The one you have to
Yeah, so
color
so
the.
it's like this tapos you have to color it. Yeah, so we had that pa,
So that was like
you know.
AD like D&D first ed or
First
something.
ed, yeah. First ed yun. Or,
Damn.
oo. Tapos, so, that was my first, ano to. Tapos, um, I tried to run it, but I don't know what happened with it. Ayun, and then, that's how I learned about Dungeons and Dragons later
Yeah.
on.
Buti na lang di nagalit yung pinsan mo.
Ewan ko, siguro, siguro, iniisip na, hindi na ako iistorbo nitong batang to. So, let him be.
Yeah.
That's the Satan's work naman eh. Yung book na.
Yeah, it's like I'm like surprised, like, cause there are some people that if it's collectibles, like their action figures and stuff, they really get like, no, you're not supposed to touch it. But it was like, okay, fine, okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
but I mean at that time kasi parang ano na yun, late 80s na. So at that time, yung stuff from like the 60s or 70s, parang wala lang, it's still new.
Ah, so it was like
Yeah,
he was
so
pretty
okay
chill.
lang.
And but were you able to officially play at that time, or it was just a
I
discovery?
think I read through it tapos I tried it kasi it also came with uh yun it has a blue squares. Ano yan?
The tiles?
Yeah, yeah, the tiles. I forgot that what type of paper that is. You use it for graphing paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's graphing paper, but it's color blue. It's for
Ah.
blueprint daw. Yeah, parang ganun yung style nila before in D&D.
Oh.
Blueprints, yun ano to. Yung maps used to be blue. Ayan. So, yun pa. So, you use that and then you color it down. I think I was able to run a game, but I don't remember if natapos namin or
Oh, you
I
were a
played
GM?
solo. Yeah, yeah, because I was the only one who had the box. Well, my cousin's box. So
Yeah. The origin story for every
yeah, yeah,
GM, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's it's pretty cool though. So it's like tell your age without telling your age. First ed. Yeah, okay, that's very cool. At least you started with first ed. Like what?
First ed.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
immortal right now. So your first game was D&D. What was the
Yep.
next system after D&D that you explored?
Um, we ex. So I have a cousin who ran a homebrew game when I was in high school. It was
Oh.
super homebrew because we'd only play with one D20
Uh,
and there was no rule book, nothing. There's no character sheets. Um, we just role play. Tapos you decide if if you succeed or not with the roll. I didn't even know if there's like a target number or I'm doing damage or wala. I didn't know, but I was having fun kasi it was role play. Tapos every recess yun and lunchtime and before kasi 'di ba pag nasa Catholic school ka hanggang 3 parang
yeah,
ganun. Ay, hanggang 4 ata, 4 and then you leave your class at 3 pero they still let you out of the school at around 4.
yeah.
So yun from 3 to 4 maglalaro ulit kami. As we
Nice.
just go around, just walking around and would sit down when we had to roll dice. And then we'll just go around. It was fun. He called it
LARPing? You did
parang
LARPing?
hindi naman LARPing. I think so, but uh, and then he called it Time Runner, which was very very cool. Uh,
Nice.
that was in high school. And then in college, I played with a friend who ran DC superheroes.
Yo.
Yeah, yeah.
That that's like
So,
a lot.
oo, tapos yung art, oo, yung art pa nun sobrang 80s, yung static, parang superheroes pero static pa rin, parang static lang yung action, yung drawing. Uh, and then, but I started regularly with tabletop was when I was invited to play under Justin Aquino. So Justin is a friend also of Jay. So
Oh.
no, yan. So
So,
we were all in one college. So I met
wow.
Jay in college. Yan.
Ah, okay. So I'm starting to get your
Uh,
age.
yeah. Shh.
No, but
Okay.
you have really
We're
cool
bleeping that out,
cousins.
'di ba? May bleeping part ba
Yeah,
'to
bleep,
or
bleep, bleep. Yeah. But like you have cool
um
cousins and like a cool college batchmate, like the fact
uh
Small World with Jay.
with Jaina. So Justin ran D&D 3.5.
Mm,
I know, 3 pa ata mo nun eh. Or 3.5 na. 3 pa ata nun. Wala pa
yeah.
3.5 nun.
Okay.
And then and then we started playing dun sa parang may plaza dun sa baba. Then we played there. Siguro, it was so funny because a lot of us wanted to GM.
Um,
So you'd be a player in like four other GM's games, and then you'd be running for them in your game.
oh, at least may rotation.
Oh, may rotation siya. Tapos ang funny pa nga ng rotation, it's like after class. Naka-schedule siya na after class. So after class ng ganito, si Nico magra-run ng ganito. Tapos once you go down, you'll find out, oh, sino na naka-schedule? Oh, si Justin na. So D&D naman. So we were playing all different type of games, systems at all at the same time.
What did you run? Because I know like Jay
Um,
is World of
I
Darkness.
ran 7th C.
Yo, that's
Yeah, first ed.
first ed of 7th C.
Yeah. Oo,
Damn.
grabe. Yeah.
That's
Seven Seas. But I never got to run second edition, but I should.
yeah. I saw the 7th C na pinakita ni Toby. Like there's a lot going on in that system.
Yeah. It was worse. It was worse on the first edition. Kasi yung first edition, so they had their yun parang classes nila. And
Mm-mm.
then they kept on bringing out new books. So they had so much books already. And you know naman, I mean, before there were no PDFs, no,
What
so
PDFs?
books. So if you wanted a library of RPG books, it would be this big bag. Oh,
Uh,
ito library.
Magmukha kang architect kasi ang dami. Like, may
Oo,
map, may
tama.
books,
Yeah, oo, right. Tapos si
toolbox.
Justin, he's running pa ano to D&D. So instead of using a map, he'd use rulers and a ang tawag dun yun, yun tape measure.
Yeah.
Tapos yung pa yeah, may mga drawing materials pa. So, parang nga kaming architect in a way.
Yeah, yung mga toolbox, tapos may drawing
Oo.
pa and all the
Oo,
books.
tama.
Damn.
Grabe. Oo.
At least you can hide the books because like I think some schools think it would be gambling. So at least you could say, oh no, we're
Well,
architects.
college naman eh. I mean, I think they'd be open
Not
naman.
my college though. They
Oh,
they thought it
really?
was like Magic the
Boo!
Gathering was
Burn
considered
down your college. No, just
gambling.
kidding.
We will
Oh,
not
really?
name names.
Oh,
Like we will not name names.
talaga?
Yeah, there was
Kasi linapitan kayo and then told you or they had to like put you
the
in a corner.
I was called to
Oh,
the
really? Oh, man.
because it was considered gambling now, the dice and
Oh.
everything. So
Uh,
okay,
ikaw
sige.
ba instigator? Ikaw ba GM?
I was a player. And then we thought it, and then I was a player first. GM now later on. But like when I was a player, I was like, hey, we can play here. It's like a cool spot. Ganyan. Lilapitan kami. Then we were called to the ano. And then,
Hala!
so
So, wait,
lame.
it just happened once. Nalaro
Oh,
nyo lang ng one time.
yeah, we played.
Tapos
Then we
na,
moved to a cafe afterwards. After, cause like
uh,
fuck this school. We will not
yeah,
name names. We will not.
uh,
We will not commit slander. Pero yun.
that's true. Oh, well.
Yeah,
At
but
least you got to still continue after, no?
yeah, I mean, I started in Skype online, and then that's the funny thing when I went back to
Oh,
Davao.
really?
Yeah, because I had a stint in Manila, and then I went to Davao back, and then like that was my first physical game. And then we tried in school, and we found out schools weren't cool with that. So we played in a second floor, stuffy, very hot Pathfinder.
Okay.
So so
Doesn't matter as long as you're having fun, eh, no?
yeah. At least all we had to
Oo.
do was buy pitchers of iced tea and food. We're good. Like we can have that for like 4 hours. We're good.
Pizza,
No,
yan.
mga
Coke.
Yeah, the iced tea. Anyways, so
Oh,
good times, good origin story. Lots of
oo
things
nga.
going. I like the fact that there's rotating GMs. That's so like
Oh,
hard.
yeah, grabe. Um, we love tapos, actually, I'll just give a little bit of ano 'to, a
Yeah,
story. We
yeah.
had a game called, I forgot what we called it, but it was like an isekai,
Mhm.
um, story, but we played ourselves. And
Ooh.
we were playing D&D 3.5. And it's funny with another, how far can I run? Do I get a 16 for that? You're 16 for running, are you sure? Tapos, so ayan, so nagawa na namin ganyan. Tapos ang funny thing is we'd rotate GMs then. So and then we wouldn't tell each other what the story was. So you wouldn't know what the next person after you is going to do, or the person before you is going to do. So okay, bala na. So it was a one of the highlights of our uh role playing in college.
Oh my god.
Yun
The
lang. Okay, let's
episode
continue.
that was like episodic. You never know where your characters are gonna get out. Sounds like chaos. Yes.
Yes, yes. It was fun chaos.
Yes, fun chaos. So and now that we got to establish a lot of your origin stories, cool cousins, cool batchmates, lots of role play in college. We'll get to know more about you with a little segment, and this is done by all the guests dito sa
Oh, oh, eto
show.
na. Okay.
Yes, the two truths and one lie. So chat
Okay.
will join us in figuring out the three statements you will say about yourself. We'll figure out
Okay.
which one's the lie. So far, I've had many losses. I think I only got yung kay Toby. So out
Oh,
of the
really? Okay.
out
I
of
think
the
mine is going to be easy, so.
yeah, hopefully because like 6 sessions na tas isa lang yung win, like I
Well,
had five L's.
you'll get better with practice, I guess.
Like 6 times the surest, I guess.
Oo, no?
Sure
Oo.
na sure na
'Pag
yan.
siguro nasa season 4 na, alam mo na,
Yeah,
two
sure
out
na.
of three. Yeah, 'di ba?
Yeah. So yeah, feel free to mention your statements, the three statements, and then chat and I will figure out which one's the
Okay,
lie.
okay. So this is completely random. I was going through your flow of talk. Tapos sabi ko, how am I going to do two truths and one lie about yourself? And I said, oh, sige, I'll answer everything else first. I'll go through them first. And then I went back to that. And then, bahala na. So, very random. But there's a little bit of like thinking about it. So here they are. So the first one is, I was into sports when I was younger.
Mm, that's vague, oddly vague, but possible,
Wait,
possible.
do you try to guess now, or
No, no, we
do I
get all the
finish the
state. We get all the statements. I'm
Okay,
just
okay, okay.
musing you at your statements right now, reacting now.
All right. Sige, sige. I'll continue with the second one.
Yes.
Um, uh, I don't drink soda. Okay. And
What?
the third one, I have never watched the Titanic.
They're so random and big.
Yeah,
Oh
I know,
my
right?
god. It could all be true. Oh my god, this is
uh,
so hard.
all
Uh,
right. Um, uh,
we'll guess first. Chat
okay,
can guess
okay.
as well. So the first one is you were into sports when you were young. The second one is you don't drink soda, and the
I
third
don't
one
drink soda.
is
Yep.
you never watched the Titanic. Oh my god.
I've never watched the Titanic.
Okay, I will say the first one is very plausible because every Pinoy kid at some point did basketball or some kind of sports as a kid. Whether they liked it or not, they might have
Okay.
done sports. Okay, Yan said it's either the soda or Titanic. That's a lie. The soda part
Okay.
is interesting, but the Titanic one, I've met a lot of people who have not seen certain like like pop culture
Classic,
famous.
very big pop, ano to,
Uh-uh.
classic movies.
So like it's plausible. If skateboarding counts as a sport, then I think that one is true. Paulo says. Um, soda though, that's pretty. I mean, there are people who can't drink soda or like it's not their preference. So no, I will switch to the Titanic. Okay, Jan's locking in on Titanic. I will have to lock in on soda because like there's I don't know I feel like soda's kind of like a staple unless you get to an age
Yeah, that's true.
where you
That's true.
can't drink soda because of health reasons. But I think I think the soda's the lie. Okay, somebody said Titanic's the lie. Um, thank you, Paolo, for the clue. My sorry for my cat. My cat's just making a lot of cameos. So, skateboarding. I mean, there is an official sports for skateboarding. You know, Tony Hawk, whatnot. But
Uh-huh.
I feel like my theory of like all Pinoy kids have gone through sports at some point
Uh-huh,
is
yeah, 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 that's true.
so I will say the soda's the lie. Okay, any final in chat secured? Because going once, going twice. Okay, you may reveal the answer. Which one's the lie?
Um, the lie is the first one. Uh, I was never
Oh,
into sports when I was younger.
no, I know.
Yeah, never.
What?
So
My,
yeah,
damn.
now lang when I was ano to, when I got older siguro when I was started working na. That's when I wanted to go to the gym. Now I'm doing longboarding, but before
The sports,
hell with
you.
sports.
I approve. Okay, that's another L for me because darn.
uh
Wait, you've never drank soda?
no,
What?
I drank soda. I don't drink soda anymore.
I trick. That's a trick question. That's a trick
Yeah,
statement.
I'm sorry. I told you this was very random. So
Ooh, tricks. Yeah, okay. That's it's fine. At least we know. So how
uh
how old were
and
you when you
then
started longboarding? Tanong ni Paolo.
uh wow, 43, around 37, 38, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So a while. A while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah, it was in present tense. It's okay. He doesn't drink it anymore, so I failed. It's just like it's hard to find like somebody who has not partake the soda. So, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I just
sports.
decided one day not to drink soda and da-da.
Yeah, I mean it's good for your health. You know, it's
Yeah.
none of the sugar. So yeah, thank you. You just said your age out loud. Sorry, Paolo. No, it'll be blurped out.
Yeah, there's yeah.
Wait, there's a whenever
My
he says his
mother
age.
has ano to, beeping ano to.
Just
If you can't
hype.
hear
That's
it,
it. Perception things.
yeah. If you can't hear any bleeping, that means you're in the elite part
Yeah.
of the Twitch stream.
Yeah, you got the no ads, no
Yeah,
bleep
no
bleep
ads.
bleep. Cool. Like yeah, he has similar name as me. Oh really not? Yay,
Oh,
there's a lot of
really? That's
artists.
cool.
Cool.
So we
Nice.
are the archer for uh ano yan? Hare Krishna.
Yes. So
Yeah.
the RJ part. So yeah, I guess going now to the flow.
Oh,
Now that I've taken another L, so that's 5 L's out of 6. Sadness. What are your current campaigns, the
make it
games?
1.5 because the other one was a trick question. So,
Yeah, I still lost it. I didn't get the one.
oh,
So
okay, okay.
sad noises. You'll get mine. Yes, one day I will have the full score. For now, fail muna. But yes, what are your current campaigns right now? The games, the systems that you're playing recently.
Um, I've been running Savage since the system Savage World. I've been running already for 2 years. Um,
Oh.
yeah. No, I think a year and a half na. Wala pang 2 years, so a year and a half. Um, my current campaign, which is drop in, drop out. uh, is Deadlands, the RTSA Chronicles. So drop in the problem with the games I run, I don't have a lot of regular like 3 or 4 regular players that can come every Saturday to play. So the drop in drop out is a way of me being able to continue the story with some regular players and newer players who can either play a pre-gen character or their original character, which they can reuse if they rejoin the game on any time that they decide to do.
Cool.
Yun.
So that's like
Um,
their longest running campaign. This is on
yeah,
YouTube,
that's
right? You
this. Yeah, this is on YouTube. Yeah, this is on
yeah.
YouTube.
You guys can follow him in Arch Game Rooms plug.
Yeah.
You guys want to see some Savage Worlds
Argus
actual
Gaming.
play?
Yeah. Thank you very much for
Yeah.
the ano to.
So Savage
Ayan.
Worlds mostly and Deadlands.
Um, well, this Saturday I am going to run a original TTRPG by a college friend din ni Jay,
Hmm.
part of our group, who Nico, who created his own game called Sky's End. So I'm running that this Saturday. So he is letting me playtest his um, parang new published book. And then after that, um, what I usually do is I schedule games for the next month, and then depending on the availability of the players, that depends on what the game happens. So I have games. I have a game called Savage Adventures, which is now on episode 21. There is no continuation for Savage Adventures. It's all just parang one-shot games, wherein I if there are players who are new to the game or new to Savage Worlds, that's where I can dump them so that they have a more they don't need to know more about the setting,
Okay.
because Deadlands has a lot of stuff already in it.
Yeah.
So, yun, Savage Adventures are just snippets of the system and how things can go for you. If you'd like to continue, then maybe you'd like to try out Deadlands, which is a ongoing campaign.
Nice.
There we go. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and so like at least if people are interested in signing up, they can go to Arch Game Room and check the availability for next month na. Or
Yeah,
what?
for next month.
Yeah,
But
na.
I think I won't have next month because it's my birth month. So I'm gonna,
Uy,
you know,
advance.
I'm going to be. Thank you very much. Offline.
Sige lang. Enjoy the birth month. Like
Thank
break.
you. Thank you.
GM break. The GM needs break too.
GM break. GM break. Actually,
Yeah.
no. I actually planning a face to face, but let's
Oh.
see. Let's see. I'll explain later on because I think it's part of my answer to one of your questions.
Oh. It's
Mm.
which one? Joke. Like
Um, well, depends. Where are
like
we on the next
yeah,
one?
so because like I'm curious about like since you're doing a lot of like running for games, do you have any
Uh
like
huh.
TTRPG projects you're doing? Because like Jay's doing some game design,
Oh yeah, Jay's
so
doing
yeah,
game
doing
designs for
game
the
design.
Scooby.
Yeah.
Um,
Ikaw, do you have any
for me, no, I don't write. I'm very very happy that whoever created ChatGPT and making it free for GMs who are tamad to write. It's a heaven sent. And no, I don't do any game designs. But what I do is uh, I introduce TTRPGs to players who would normally not even think or have heard of any of TTRPGs before. you
Nice.
know. So that's one of things I do. I
Yeah.
like introducing it to them.
Yeah,
So
there's something about introducing somebody who's really new who hasn't like doesn't know about
yeah.
TTRPGs. There's a joy in like, yes, you have entered into my world.
That's what's
Excellent.
happened with ano to, since I've started running Savage Worlds. A lot of people, this is their first time playing Savage Worlds. So it's almost like half of that na, you know, you're trying to introduce a new system to a lot more people. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the joys of
I'm
just
sure you also you know that when you start, you know, running your games for people who hasn't played Call of Cthulhu before.
are like they don't understand the concept of like D&D. What's
Yeah,
D&D?
right?
It's like there's still people who don't know about D&D, so it's like really cool to just introduce
Mm-mm.
that. So yeah, all right, so we're gonna get into the thick of it. We've been like you've been hinting at like just running a lot of Savage Worlds campaigns, one shots. So we're gonna have our TTRPG. We're gonna get into the thick of it, the TTRPG talk. So you
Uh-huh.
mentioned that you kind of like introducing people to systems that they don't know about. So,
Mhm.
what's your sales pitch for Suede? Like for somebody who has never like heard about Savage Worlds,
Savage
like
Worlds. Yeah.
well, yeah, well, what's that? So what's your elevator sales pitch to somebody who's never heard of it?
Heard of Savage Worlds or
Uh,
heard of tabletop RPGs?
Savage Worlds specifically, like they like this is the first time they've heard about Savage Worlds. What would be
But they
your
played
sales?
like other RPGs first already beforehand.
We can say that they have some experience, like they know the general gist of Dungeons and Dragons. There's
Okay.
some dice involved. So how
All
would
right.
you do a sales
I'm
pitch for?
sorry. I'm becoming a GM asking questions. Sorry.
Okay lang yun.
Uh um if you've already played TTRPGs before, um this Savage Worlds is a mix of the complexity of D&D and the flexibility of uh just give me a second. Give me a second, guys. Wait lang.
Okay, okay. Yes. No. Oh, I go transition though. Hello. Okay. So while he was pulled away for a bit for some IRL stuff. How you guys doing? Oh wait, Yan, I will need to consume food. What were you about to type? How are you doing, Nak? How's everybody in chat? Thanks for joining by the way for episode 6. I'm not sure if we're gonna have a season finale because the person I was kind of trying to reach out for the season finale hasn't gotten back to me. Sad noises, but I
Sorry,
get
I'm sorry.
okay lang, okay lang. IRL things
Yeah, yan.
happen. He's okay.
I had to ano to, I had to answer the door.
All good.
All right.
Okay.
Where were we? Okay. So if you've already played TTRPGs before, Savage Worlds has the complexity of D&D, but the flexibility of PBTA.
Oh, like powered by the
Uh,
apocalypse.
yeah, Powered by the Apocalypse.
Oh, okay.
That's if you already played this type of games, if you've never played D&D or PBTA, it's kind of hard to describe it. But uh, so you play in a setting. If you've never played TTRPGs before, Savage Worlds is a tabletop role playing game where you can do anything you want. I guess
That's
with
pretty cool.
certain rules. With
Yeah,
certain rules.
yeah. So
Ayan.
like that's interesting at least. Like most
Mm-mm.
TTRPGs kind of get you to do anything you want in terms of imagination. So that's pretty nice. At least that's a uniform thing. I guess
Yeah.
speaking of like anything, because we've had GURPS. we've had Genesis, like we had those conversations.
Mhm.
Does Savage World have a specific genre it falls under, or like, is it?
No, one of the best things that I love about Savage Worlds, it's a generic system,
Mhm.
so you can use it in any setting that you want.
Okay.
Uh, and yeah, that's it. There's no it's so it's so open to be used in any other setting. That's why I like using it, because for me, uh, I'd like to run like modern. Sometimes I like to run modern. I like to run horror, or I like to run high school anime, fight
Like,
stuff,
okay,
uh,
like shonen
or
style, or like,
like shonen stuff, right? Or I can sometimes I want the uh zombie survival type of game, or more tactical with guns and uh, special weapons and stuff like that. So because of all these settings that I like running, or movies that I like, or pop culture that I love, I Savage Worlds gets me to run those things, those types of settings easier than me trying to learn a new system for that setting. Uh, like there used to be a zombie TTRPG called All Flesh Must Be Eaten.
yeah,
Yeah, right. So that's for zombie, specifically zombie lang.
uh-uh,
So for D&D naman, it's more fantasy.
fantasy,
High
yeah,
fantasy actually ang D&D, high fantasy, di ba? So but what if you want to use D&D rules to a modern setting, uh without breaking it? Yeah,
yeah,
there are books now for it now, definitely. But what if before, or a setting that there is none, like let's say you started already playing Savage Worlds and you want to play superheroes, but you don't want to learn a new system. So you have Savage Worlds to use, because it's so generic. Just that one book, you can run like hundreds of settings.
yeah. So like, just a follow-up question to this one in regards to genres. Like, it allows
Uh-huh.
anything, but from your experience, like, what were your favorite genres that kind of like you felt like, oh, I had fun running this genre with the system, like, at
With the system, one is Deadlands.
yeah.
Uh, um, and then Deadlands is the Weird West.
Ooh.
There is also the the zombie one. Yeah. And so far, fantasy, I have not touched it, so I haven't touched it that well yet. But my fave is Deadlands at that this right now, and then next to that, second to that would be the zombie
Oh,
setting. But they're not specifically. It's just because I like running that type of,
yeah. Yeah,
and
it's a personal preference.
Savage World
I
just
was
translates easy
curious.
for it. Yeah,
Yeah, I was curious about your preferences for that because like it allows for anything. So that's pretty
yeah.
cool. That's
That's
pretty
why I'm so happy that a lot of generic, because of whatever happened, the D&D one
OGL.
snafu, the OGL. And then now all of this, all of this publishers started, let's do our own, and everything's all generic now. Like Free League has their own, Modifius, I don't know how to say
Yeah,
the 2D20.
Modiphius.
Yeah, they also have their own, 'di ba? They're coming out with their own parang generic um
Oh, I
system.
didn't know about that. I thought they were just doing
Yeah.
IP stuff.
They have one. I saw it in one post,
Nice.
and then I don't know if I'm not sure if basic role playing is coming back. Um, and then ayun. So ang dami ng tapos Kobold din, 'di ba? They're doing a
Kobold
generic
Press. Yeah.
fantasy ano to, book so you can use their rules for fantasy naman.
The orc.
Na generic. Yeah,
Orc.
the orc. Yeah, exactly. So yun. So
Nice.
Savage Worlds has a lot of competition now actually.
For the agnostic generic,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
thing.
Agnostic generic system.
Nice. Okay, so you mentioned a lot about Deadlands, and I made a lot of mistake of I don't know if it's considered a mistake, when I
No,
approached
nobody's
you.
taking points off of you if you make a mistake. Don't worry. Minus a star.
Minus star, gold star removed it. It's like
Minus gold
I
star.
remember reaching out to you asking like, hey, can I have you talk about Deadlands? And you I don't know, mentioned Savage Worlds. I was like, oh shit, did I say the wrong system? And then I looked it up and it said that Savage Worlds is actually originated from Deadlands. It was like part of their
Yes.
like um what do you call this? Their skirmish rules. So like what are their
Yeah.
key distinctions? Like what makes Savage Worlds different now from Deadlands, or are they just really like the same now? So
Well, honestly, I've only played the second edition. I think the second edition is the Savage World Deluxe Edition.
mm,
Oo. Ayan. So, uh, I'm not so sure on uh, the big difference between the second edition and the fourth one, the fourth printing now. The fourth, yeah, the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. The big difference, I don't know if there's personally, but I've gone through some of their they have this like a sheet of conversion.
uh-huh.
So if you like have a old book of the second edition and you'd like to use the new edition, these are the rules that you can use to translate it so that you can use it to Suede. So I think they changed a lot of the um, when it came to combat. They made it a lot faster, I think, and damage was also a little bit nerfed, I think, also. Uh, yeah, that's it. I'm not so sure. My experience with the second edition was running it for college for my college friends years after college. I tried to run it like two sessions and I couldn't still get how to run it because I was used to D&D
Yeah.
and D&D and World of Darkness. So, iba yung system niya. So, I couldn't get it. You're only rolling one die, etc. And then health is different. Uh,
Yeah.
and then you don't use your your you usually just use your skills instead of your stats, etc. So yeah, that's my experience with it. So
You
that's how
me-
I can explain
you
it.
mentioned earlier that Deadlands is kind of like a dark western or western,
No,
weird
it's a
western,
weird west. Weird
weird
west.
west. Sorry, like a
So
weird west. So is it?
no,
Can it be a
actually, you're still
generic?
right. You're actually still right. It's dark west also. At in some parts, in some books, it is a dark west. In
Yeah.
some books, it's more the traditional Western style setting, like Red Dead Redemption, and then there's one where it becomes very much like uh, what movie was that with Abraham Lincoln?
The
He
vampire
was a
hunter?
vampire. Yeah, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. And then a part of that, it can also be like uh the the Wild Wild West movie of Will Smith.
Ah, okay. So it's
So
not it's I guess Savage World is like it can be generic, but Deadlands is more Western, kumbaga sa genre. Or can you do
yes, it's a
generic for
setting.
Deadlands?
It's well, it really depends on how you use the Deadlands setting. Um, it's just like I think in D&D you can run a game with no other creatures, just humans, right? So it's
Mm-mm.
just a human based adventure, but you're still using D&D.
Mm-mm.
So Deadlands, you can still also do that.
Okay.
Um, now the uh, why the I think also the question there would be why what's the difference of Savage Worlds and Deadlands? Well, Deadlands is just a setting for Savage Worlds. So this new edition, they created the system first, and then fixed Deadlands after that.
Oh.
So kaya mas ano to, it looks so similar because you're using the same book.
Okay. I,
Yeah.
I keep thinking like Deadlands is World of Warcraft. Savage Worlds is the Dota. You know, in that one map na naging its own thing. And then
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then
That's
so
true.
it's basically Savage Worlds is Dota. And then World of Warcraft si
Ah, ah,
Deadlands.
yeah, tama, tama. Parang nag-spin off siya.
Ah, and then like it just became its own standalone and all that.
Yeah, it became its own standalone. Now
Nice.
actually, Savage Worlds, Suede has the they now have the Fantasy Companion. They first came out with the Superheroes Companion. So it's using Savage Worlds system, but the generic one, Suede, and then put on top of that is superheroes setting. It's not a setting. It's uh, system for running superhero games with Savage Worlds system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then they have superheroes. Now they have fantasy. They also just released last February, I think, the horror companion, and I think their last companion is going to be sci-fi.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Savage World to Civilized Worlds. Cool. Cool. All right. So, now that we kind of got the distinction, there's one thing I want to clear up in terms of
Mhm.
like the rumors around Savage Worlds. Like
Rumors.
the rumors, or
Are
at
this like
least
Mario test type rumors?
oh my god, I know like it's like how it's perceived as at least like example, um what do you call this? A lot of people kind of get discouraged to join Pathfinder First Ed because it's too number crunchy, there's too much math
Yes,
involved, and
that's
all
true.
that.
Uh-huh.
It's very convoluted and confusing compared to 5e. And then, like, in Savage Worlds, it's known for being deadly. Like, there's like, what do you call this? There's in Traveler, the system, you can literally die at character creation. Like, there's just some
Yeah, yeah,
systems that are
yeah.
notorious for killing players,
Uh-huh.
and it
What
seems
is
like
does Traveler still do that now? Grabe naman.
apparently in character
Oh,
creation,
really?
yes, they
Uh,
can still
I'm still
murder
scared of
people.
Traveler also.
Yeah. You ran the superhero one for us a year ago for the RPGs for Blood event.
Yeah, we did. Paolo,
Ooh.
yeah. Thank you very much for joining. So
Yeah. So is it like
uh
it's like a game in hard mode. So like the question here is like how do you kind of get people into a game that's like known for like being deadly, it kills characters like
it's those characters. Well, first of all, I don't think when I started running Savage Worlds for my group, they never knew about the deadliness of the game.
Oh.
They didn't have there is no prior knowledge of it being deadly, etc., etc. I also didn't know that it was deadly until like I read an article so far, when I was searching for it. But uh it can be very deadly actually for both sides, for the GM and the player. But the players always have priority. So apart one of your questions of flow one of your questions is what type of mechanics you like in Savage Worlds.
Yeah.
uh I'll add this also to explain my point is that
Yeah.
in Savage Worlds they like to give uh players to win, uh because first you get benefits, right? um these bennies are free flowing, depending on how you play or how your generous your GM is. But bennies is a shortcut for benefits. So you have lots of ways of using your bennies. So one is example is you get the biggest one is you get to influence the story uh, as long as you and your GM agrees and it's consistent to the plot or the scene itself. Um, it can also reroll failed traits. Okay, so there's a list of stuff you can do your Benny. So that's one, right? So the second one is in like D&D or PBTA or any other game so far that makes you only roll one type of die. In in Savage Worlds, you are given a continuous D6. You always have a D6 when you roll your traits. So that's another way of telling the writers, oh here's another way of you guys that you could try to win. Um and then the target number is always 4. Okay? Um uh Ayun. So the game itself actually wants the player to win a lot. Just that sometimes, dice just don't agree with you.
The dice want drama. The dice gods want drama.
Di ba? So the uh sometimes it becomes very very deadly. I've also noticed that in my games, um uh there is also a chance that combat can end in one single
Round.
turn, in one
Ooh.
round. Ano to, you can uh, one round of initiative, matatapos na siya.
Yeah.
That's a big possibility then. And then what there's another thing pala that I almost forgot. Um, Savage Worlds also have mooks wherein you just hit them once and they die. Okay?
Okay.
But they're still there. 'Di ba?
Then they
So,
exist.
yeah, that they still exist, but they you can just hit them once and they're dead.
Okay.
Okay? So in like I said, in the way I do it is I compare it to other bigger TTRPGs. D&D has ano to you have to go through HP the HP of smaller creatures like a goblin, right? You have to finish off their HP. If they have 1 HP left, they're still up, right?
Yeah.
But in Savage Worlds, once you damage them, they die. So so that gives,
Oh.
yeah, but the thing is if that creature hits you and their dice explodes, well, that's when the deadliness comes from.
Oh, yeah, the exploding. So the
Yeah, the
exploding
exploding dice.
dice. Oh, we
Yeah.
can definitely talk about that mechanic later on because I don't know what an exploding dice is. Other than my only reference to exploding dice is Genesis and Legend of Five Rings, the fourth
Yeah,
one.
I think it came from Legends of Ride. Actually, in Savage World they call it acing,
Uh huh.
and in Legend of the Five Rings they call it exploding.
Oh.
I call it exploding because my first experience for this type of dice is from L5R also.
Ah, CJ. CJ.
Yeah, I think so. I played in one or two of Jay's game, a few of his games also.
Yeah.
For L5R then, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Mage
comment.
then.
Yeah,
I played Mage under him also.
Mage and L5R. Yeah, I have yet to play L5R under stable though. But yeah,
Oh.
Pat's Matias. I hope I
Oh
pronounce your
yeah.
Pat's.
Hello, Patrick. It's one of my regular players.
Oh, hello. He says the wild die helps a lot. It's like always rolling with advantage in D&D. And then yeah,
Yeah.
and Yan was commenting that it seems like the Benny sounded like some of the Fate stuff.
Yeah,
In
I think so, yeah.
GURPS, it's also a thing sometimes. So there might the Bennies. I think that was his reference. And then Yan
Uh-huh.
also commented one of the GMs I knew had his boss take four times his max HP in one attack. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Di ba? Grabe yan. Uh,
Delicad. Yeah. The thing sometimes turn 1 to 2 turns into combat. Yeah, that's interesting.
yep.
Cause like the one of the things then in 5e like you feel the sometimes the slog of like the
Yeah, there's a
combat.
slog, right?
Like
Yeah.
you feel the like when it's taking too long, like oh my god, why won't this die? Kind of
Especially if
feels.
you're the GM, di ba? So you're running, ano to, because you already know, you placed a few mooks here in the start of the start of the corridor, and then more in the upper part of the corridor. But there's like consistency of blah 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 whatever. So what happens is once they go through the door and they fight these five goblins, and now somehow the goblins are surviving.
It's like no dice, how dare you?
I want them dead.
Yeah.
So, uh,
Yeah, I want to ask
you
though,
know,
now, since you mentioned like from your experience, it's not deadly unless it is deadly with exploding dice and whatnot.
yeah.
Like from your approach at least, it doesn't really deter people from playing Savage Worlds, like the deadliness at least. But does the game attract a certain people? Like for instance, there are some people that are like power gamers who kind of like if they're from 3.5 Pathfinder 1E, they're kind of like they know their builds. They build
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
power gamer stuff, and then there's like the super heavy role player side if
Uh-huh,
they're like in a different
uh-huh.
system. What kind of
Yep.
players are attracted to this system?
Um, Actually, both type of players, I think they would be attracted to Savage Worlds. Uh, like I said, Savage Worlds can have the complexity of D&D when it comes to creating your powers, creating your equipment,
Magic.
uh,
Yeah.
creating your armor, your weapons. When it also gets down to turn economy, that's where you know uh, I think a lot of those power gamers who like to optimize their characters, that's what they're going to love about Savage Worlds. Um, and then if you want simple characters, you're the type of role player. You can also still create your type of characters like that in Savage Worlds with hindrances, the way you role play. Uh, but mostly, so far, with the players that I have, usually kasi, like I said, diba, um, um, I mostly introduce my players to Savage Worlds. So not a lot of them have prior knowledge about Savage Worlds before, or sometimes they don't even have prior knowledge about TTRPG. So their expectations is kind of low on what Savage Worlds is. Um, but some of them, like I have this one player, hello to Raymond, who started this thing wherein kasi he came from 3.5 and he's a GM of 5e, and he likes to optimize his characters a lot, especially in combat. So there's one time he was playing in Savage Worlds in one of my games. And like I said, right, bennies you can use bennies to re-roll your re-roll your dice, and then you can either choose that result or the previous one. So what he did was, since he had like I think six bennies, he wanted his dice to explode.
Oh.
So he uh he he didn't need to use a Benny to re-roll because he already hit the opponent, but he keeps on using Benny so that he finds a higher ano to, higher result. I think there's a word for it in D&D. Wow,
Crit?
man. I, uh,
Critical success?
oh yeah, parang ano to, fetching for criticals, or
Fishing
something
for a
something like
crit.
that.
Fishing for a crit.
Yeah, fishing for a crit. That's exactly what he was trying to do. He was fishing for a crit. Pero Savage World yun. So ginagamit pa rin niya doon sa Savage World, di ba? From D&D.
Uh-uh.
Yun. Um,
Like,
uh,
sinasadya niya yung explode shit. It's
yeah,
scary.
yeah, sinasadya niya. Which was fun because um, uh, so what happened was, because once he did that, I realized, oh, I can actually try to push players to use their bennies more by asking them, would you like to try to look for a crit?
Like,
Hanggang
fish
maubos
for
yung
crit, fish for
bennies
crit.
nila.
Yeah. And then you won't have bennies at the right moment.
Yeah, they want to, yeah, exactly, di ba? Sila, oh. So now I'm using that. So but anyway, yeah, uh Savage Worlds can be good can take in power gamers from D&D, or those heavy stats games like GURPS, or Masters and Mutants and Masterminds,
Oof.
or those who like more narrative like PBTA type of games, or Fate.
So it's a middle ground. That's actually
Yeah, it's a middle
interesting.
ground.
At least,
Mhm.
cause like given the notion that it is deadly, like it feels like it would attract like more combat centric. But it's good to know that there's a balance in the
Yeah.
system. Like people can meet halfway. That's
Oh,
nice.
there's one. There's also another one. Another game wherein one player in combat did nothing but talk down the opponent. That's all he did.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of talking, chat asked from Yan,
Mhm.
what are the social mechanics like there in Savage Worlds? What are the types of social mechanics are there?
Uh, what do you mean?
Like
I
so
think I need
so
to know.
in like for D&D for instance, like there would
Uh
be
huh.
persuasion rolls, like you would use charisma rolls to talk no jutsu out your
Okay.
out of the situation. So there
Um.
would be a certain skill roll for them to just get out of the
Ah.
situation through talking,
Um.
diplomacy. Like in Pathfinder or
Uh huh.
3.5, there's the bluff, there's the
Yeah, that's
diplomacy
true.
rolls.
Uh
So
huh.
what is the social mechanic role for Savage Worlds, if there are any?
Um. In Savage Worlds, it has persuasion.
Okay.
It has so the mechanic is that your skill starts at a certain die. So it's usually D4, D6, D10, D12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maximum of D12. And then let's say you roll for persuasion. That's let's say you have it at a D6, D8. That's actually very high. D8. You roll a wild die, and that's what you roll for your social, for persuasion. And then the target number is always 4.
Well,
Um,
higher, lower, or like
uh,
closest to four.
4 and above.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So on a D8, that's easy. Imagine if you're rolling a D4 or even if you have a skill at a D4, you still have a wild die at a D6, which both explodes. So yeah.
Delikado.
Um, there is also another social system in Savage Worlds. It's called social conflict. Actually, it's a very good system. It's used for where there are groups of people that you need to let them get um, uh, uh, to agree on each other. There's that. But I never use that. So usually I do it. I just do the regular stuff like persuasion, notice rolls, stuff like that. Lang.
But interesting in social conflicts. Like, is that like a contested role?
Um, usually, um, for persuasion, it's a contested role.
Okay.
Um, but uh, you the person trying to persuade is going to roll their trait. No, their skill. I'm sorry. They're going to roll their skill, which is persuasion, against the opponent's trait. So usually that's smarts.
Mm,
So but the person trying to persuade has to roll uh 4 above. So kung if they roll below a 4, um hindi you completely fail and you don't do any contesting.
okay. Okay, that's a unique mechanic. Interesting, a bit confusing, but it's
Yeah, it
yeah.
becomes a little bit, I think, it becomes a little bit more clearer when you're actually playing,
Uh
for it to actually okay, ping, it gets there.
yeah. I think it's also possible to take edges that give circumstantial
Yep,
advantage in
definitely.
social conflict situation.
Yep, definitely.
Oh,
Edges and powers, you can also use powers for yeah, like any other type of
yeah. So
uh
yeah, there's
yep.
there's also the unskilled trait role.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's another thing. That's another thing that Savage World has. Um, wherein they're giving the opportunity for the players to win is by giving them, if you don't have a skill for, let's say, persuasion. Okay, you don't have persuasion. You can still roll unskilled. Unskilled is D4 with a -4, but you also still roll a wild die. So
Ooh.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess um I'm curious as
-4. I'm sorry, D4 -2, D4 -2 plus a
okay.
wild die.
Okay, so it's like heart of the dice to get that four.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but think about it. You have two types of dice that can explode, and they're separated though. So
When you mean explode, is it like the same number, the
yeah,
same?
the highest possible number on that die, if it rolls on, if you get the highest possible number, you get to re-roll that die until um you get lower than the highest number. So
Oh,
kumare, you have a D8. You roll on your first roll, you roll that 8. So that explodes, okay? That aces. So you roll it again, You re-roll it, you get another 8. Okay? So that's another ace. So you roll again, you get another 8. Okay?
And it
So
just keeps going.
yeah, it might be funny right now, but it happens. Okay? It happens quite a lot in Savage World where dice explode, wherein players would think, I'll never be able to get that number. That's too high. Look at all the disadvantages I have right now. Sige, try mo lang. O sige. And you know what? Their dice explode 3 times. You know?
Delikado. Like,
Oh,
that's
di
like
ba?
super crit success na yun. Parang
Yeah.
over na. Right. So like I was still on the topic on like introducing like this system to people. Like I've asked this to a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people that one of the pain points other than like, you know, somebody who's willing to introduce the system to them is like it being newbie friendly in terms of resources, the accessible by a resource, like the books, the quick start rules. Like those are like the usual pain points or like
All right.
price points. Can you say Savage Worlds is newbie friendly in that regard? Like people can easily get the rules,
Mhm.
they can get the resources to like get character sheets and start a game. Is it something that people can get into in terms of resources for the game?
Um, Deadlands has a quick start. Uh, it has the complete rules of Savage Worlds in Deadlands,
Mm-mm.
using in the Deadlands setting. But the thing is, like I said, because Savage Worlds is so generic, the rules that they use for rolling and social damaging combat, etc., are all still baked into Savage Worlds itself. So, um, if you want to run Savage Worlds without using the settings of Deadlands, and you don't want to buy anything at the moment,
Yeah.
you want to try it out, but you don't like the Deadlands setting, you can still run it. You
Ah.
can, yes, exactly. You can still run it because it's completely the same, except that Deadlands has its own, setting fluff. It has new edges, new advantages, but you can take all of those out if you want. But the thing is, if you don't get the book though, you don't get all the additional stuff like more powers, more edges, more hindrances. But that's a good way for you to start, reading up on it, thinking maybe you'd like to run it. Um, and then if you are from the older side, you started from the second edition and you want to try the current one, which is Wade, there are a lot of conversion sheets in the Pinnacle website, and they're all free. And they also give free adventures for old settings, which they give out free setting conversions naman. So
Oh.
so they you can still run the old settings using the new books with free stuff. Ayan.
Okay. So there are access to free materials for this
Yeah.
system. That's
Yep.
nice.
There is also a website, um, savage.us. You guys can check it out. It is almost like D&D Beyond, but for Savage Worlds.
Okay. And then it
Yeah.
it gives, what does it give? Like the rule set or character
Yeah, it gives you
sheets?
most of the rule sets, character sheets, which you can also download in .json files, which you can use in Roll20. I'm not
Wait,
sure about in Foundry or the other VVTs.
from I guess this is like also asking from your experience since you ran a lot of Savage Worlds, like
Uh-huh.
especially digitally, because there are some. It's so hard to run it through Roll20. There's just some systems that are not yet like they're not yet compatible with like the virtual tabletops. Was did you experience any difficulty running Savage Worlds in Roll20 specifically?
Uh,
Like you encountered something in the sheets, like, oh, I didn't
uh,
show the specific stats, ganun. So you had to brute
uh,
force it. Yeah, ganun.
well, no umpisa, in the start, there was a lot of uh, learning curve to learn the character sheets in Roll20. There's a lot. This is a lot of stuff you can do in the character sheet. So, if you don't know the stuff in the book, you kind of have a hard time in translating that to your character sheet. But thankfully, I got the book in Roll20, so everything's just drag and drop. But there
Mm,
are stuff that I had to learn, especially when it came to weapons and powers. Um, to be honest,
eh.
I hope this gets blurred out. You know, I've never, I've never run Savage Worlds face to face.
Hello.
Yeah, I've never run it face to face. So I am a digital Savage World baby. So I have no idea how to run it. I have no I know I'm not sure if it translates well to face from digital, because digital everything's automatic,
Yeah.
right?
The automate and
So
rolls and everything.
yeah, and um yeah, there's a part wherein where you'll have to like have them re-roll,
Mm-hmm.
especially when they ace, right? When they ace, they have to keep on re-rolling. So I'm sure face to face, once they start re-rolling that like 5 times or 4 times, that's still a lot, right? 4 times. That takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I run Roll20 games like 5 hours. So I wonder how face-to-face games will go with like acing and all of this
Maging 8
additional
hours
roll.
yan.
Oo nga, 'di ba? So madadagdagan siya. So I guess i-reverse natin yung question, how I think it will transfer to face to face from digital to face to face.
Yeah.
Um Meron din yun card system. The
Oh,
initiative in Savage Worlds are cards.
like
So
52 card one.
yeah, 54 actually, 54. It comes with both the jokers. Sometimes two
Ooh.
jokers, sometimes four jokers. But I only use two jokers. Sobra na yung four jokers eh. What happens is every round initiative, I will draw out cards, and each number on the card is your ano to, is your position in the initiative. So the numbers are from uh 2 is the lowest, and then ace is the highest. So from highest to lowest is ace, king, uh queen, jack, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay?
Yeah.
And then the ang tawag dito yun, suits are used to determine ties
Mm.
between players and NPCs. So heart goes first before spades, etc., etc.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
yeah, so that's another thing that I think if it translates very in Roll20 in digital, it's not as exciting. You know,
Yeah.
there's no props eh. Wala kang props.
Yeah. Like, okay, I see now where the gambling allegations are coming. No, to be no, no, it's a different. And like the I
Yeah,
mean, it's weird. Like have like you've actually played. Wait, Savage Worlds you only played 2 years ago, right? You didn't play this in college yet. This isn't a system you played in
I know
college.
I played it. I played I ran the second edition twice, but never played it
Okay.
after that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but our table never got to the point wherein it looked like a gambling table.
I the thing is, it's for us. It was just dice and magic cards. It still was considered gambling. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you have dice, and then it has numbers and set. I don't know.
The Magic the
They're not
Gathering
very
doesn't
open.
look like. Anyways, it's a.
I know. I don't want to go and say
Mm,
if you think that they're in their way. No, I don't think so because I'm at the side of TTRPG people. So
yeah, it's
no, it
like
was wrong for them to
yeah, it's like it's just
boo.
I didn't like, but it was a one time thing. But yeah, yes, there are no blurps because I don't want RJ to suddenly wonder why I'm saying putang ina and swearing all of a sudden because I'm hearing sounds on my end. I do have that on my actual streams, but I turned it off because the conversation needs to be straightforward. Oh yeah, moving. We talked about mechanics. You mentioned a lot of things actually, like exploding dice, the
Uh-huh,
50,
uh-huh.
50 54 card deck.
Yep.
You also mentioned the bennies, the social
Uh-huh.
conflict. There's a lot. So like,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
it,
There's actually I have a lot more to
yeah.
lot
So
more systems that I used.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot more bits and pieces
yeah. So
in Savage Worlds.
those in itself make it unique, but like can you do like so I kind of want to move to like what are the mechanics that you absolutely love in Savage Worlds and what are the mechanics that you feel need improvement? So
Okay, the ones that I really love, uh, there are a lot.
yeah.
Um, uh, my favorite, obviously, is the exploding dice, the acing. I love that. Um, uh, I also love the bennies
Mhm.
because in D&D uh, advantages and I no not advantages they have this inspiration die
Yeah.
they have this inspiration point, right? Inspiration point is a additional mechanic for D&D.
Hmm.
So not all GMs use inspiration. Um, but in Savage Worlds, it's baked into the system itself. So bennies are will always be there. So actually, there are times when the players would remind me, GM Arj, wala pa kaming Benny ah.
Why aren't you
Ay,
giving
oo
us
nga pala. Ay,
bennies?
I'm sorry. Okay. So they actually look for it already. Um, again, there is this one mechanic. It's called support. Um, uh, in PBTA, I'm sorry if I'm comparing it to PBTA and D&D because for me they're the most they're the most games I've run before Savage World. So that's
Yeah,
where
it's
my
okay.
comparison comes in. Um, in D&D, there is a role wherein you can give your companion a advantage, right?
Like
Uh,
bardic inspiration, extra dice.
no, parang support siya, parang help.
Ah, help
I'll
action.
help, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
the help action, right? So you give them advantage. But a lot of instances in D&D, they don't use it because they'd rather roll for themselves than actually giving it away,
Oh,
right? Because what if I roll higher than the one who's actually rolling, who I'm actually giving the advantage to, right?
that's
So if
true.
I can roll it higher, why will I give it to him? So there's that kind of ano to, um, that has that system in D&D. In PBTA, there's not much of a help or carry or that type of mechanic. In Savage Worlds, it's called support. So in support, um, let's say there is a lead character and then the helping character. So yung lead character, sila yung gagawa ng, let's say they are trying to open a safe. So the lead character is the one who's going to roll his thievery. All right, he's the lead. Ngayon, um, uh, as a companion to to this player, you know, you want him to succeed more. So you'd like to, how do I help? So you can do the support role. So how do you do support? So yung support mo depends on the skills that you're going to support with. You can say I roll a notice roll to check the edges of the safe itself and see where it would be better to drill. Sure. So you roll now your notice. Um, every success, if you succeed, you give a plus one to the lead character, to the lead player. If you get a if you get a 4 points higher than four, so if you get a 8, 12, 16, okay, you add an additional plus one to a maximum of plus four. Okay? So let's say ako sige, you roll na your ano to, roll your notice. So they rolled a 8. Okay? So they succeeded. They give a plus 1 and they got 4 4 points more than an 8, more than a 4, so that becomes an 8. Okay? So now, instead of a plus 1, they give a plus 2. Okay? So unlike D&D, your dice is not um your dice is not wasted. Your the the number of succeeds that you make um is not wasted because you can give a maximum of plus 4. Unlike in D&D, you just give 1, which is an advantage. Yun
Yeah.
lang. Advantage lang, right?
And you're not sure if
Pero
it's
in
even a
D&D,
high roll.
yeah, yeah, if that guy's got to get a high roll. So you'd rather do it yourself, right?
Yeah.
So in Savage Worlds, that's a big thing for me that, oh wow. This is because you're actually, as a player, you're giving another player the access to help them succeed, you know. So there's collaboration already right there. Sometimes, let's say you don't have notice roll, so I am more of a talkative type of character. So what do? um I persuade him to do better, to do the best that he can. Okay, sure. Roll your persuasion. So uh, um, instead of just giving a role na like in D&D, or there is a no, it's an intelligence role. So dapat intelligence din, etc., etc. So it's the same in Savage Worlds. You can use a different skill to help, even if that person doing the leading is using a different skill than what you're using. So yun, that's one of
Okay.
the mechanics. Yeah, so alahaba. Sorry, sorry.
No, no, it's like it's like getting an understanding that there's a lot more nuances in the help. Kasi like napansin ko din with 5e, like if you're saying, "Oh, I'm just helping him," and then you just ask the player like, how do you help them? But like this system actually kind of pushes like the thought process on how you could better help the person even if you didn't have that skill. So it's like it gets more creative that way. So
Yep.
it's nice. It's nice.
Yes.
S- So that's
Yeah.
a support that so those are the mechanics you like, the bennies and the support.
Yeah. The Benny, the support. What I think that needs to be, I think that's weak on is uh, in combat. There tends to also, there has to be a more better explanation on how to do combat.
Ah.
Because combat in fantasy is way different from combat in Deadlands, and also combat in modern, and also in combat in sci-fi,
Yeah.
in more futuristic settings. In fantasy, there are no guns. Let's say there's no guns. You know, and you have more powers. You have more spells, right?
Yeah.
In Deadlands, their combat here, they have guns which shoot only once. There are some guns that shoot a lot. Okay, and then there's powers, and then there is equipment pa. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff to handle in ano to, in combat in Deadlands. In more pulpy systems, it's perfect because you have only a certain number of powers, certain number of weapons that you can use that complicates combat. Uh, and in modern naman, there's a lot that can be complicated. There is vehicles, there is automatic weapons, there is powers, there is spells. Um, and then in sci-fi naman, there is armor, um, and then there is three types of weapons. You know,
Yeah.
it becomes complicated as the setting progresses to a different generation.
Yeah.
So sana there is a more easier way to make the combat faster when it becomes very very complicated.
Ah.
But I don't think there would be. Um, Actually, for me, I'm actually scared to run combat in a modern setting to face because there's a lot to take
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Definitely, hundred
Oh
percent.
yeah, sorry I wasn't able to read Pat's comment. He said keeping track of the races and successes for a role or
Yeah,
calculating wounds
yeah.
would need some
Uh,
getting used to on a face-to-face game.
yep.
And Yan also asked because you were mentioning about Deadlands and Savage. Sabi niya, they aren't interchangeable. Can you run a crossover? For example, superheroes getting into the Badlands to save it from the invasion of magical cyborgs. Will it
Of
work?
course. Have you ever heard of a setting called Rifts?
Riffs?
Yeah, RIFTS.
Uh,
Rifts.
Summoner's Rift lang alam ko.
Uh, so Rifts is a hodgepodge pot of different sci-fi settings in one world. Okay, so the setting is where in Earth, uh, somehow portals open to different universes around, I don't know, in the universe. Different multiverses open. Big portals.
Hmm?
And in the middle of those portals is Earth.
Hello.
So you would fight cyborgs with spider legs
Oh.
while riding a dinosaur using a lightsaber and a automatic pistol.
That's
That is
possible.
what Rifts is.
Rift is a
You all
supplement or it's like a different kind of gameplay?
No, it's a setting for Savage Worlds.
Ah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's, it's just like Wetlands, except it's Rifts.
So
It has its own
okay.
setting.
So
Yeah.
sagol-sagol na lahat.
Tapos Rifts, by the way, the main story of Rifts right now, I think it's more militaristic, more campaigns of war.
Eh, yeah, that sounds
So
like amalgamation. Hello?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he ran a GURPS campaign that had like a military theme, and portals opening to other worlds. So
Yeah,
he's definitely gonna read into Rifts now.
you can get in. Actually, I want to run rifts. I just don't know if my players would be interested in riding dinosaurs while fighting marshmallow samurai vampires.
That
I don't know.
sounds cool, insanely cool.
Oh, I know. I'm thinking about it, but in Deadlands kasi I can also do that.
uh
So maybe, but in Rifts it's just completely bonkers kasi the the combat is going to be
oh wait,
super crazy.
hold on, my cat. Wait, hold on.
No
Uh,
problem.
wait.
Yes, Paolo, Rifts is completely fun. You love it. The way you ano to, you play. Yes, Pat, it's just like Gate. I Gate the anime. Is that on Netflix? I don't remember Gate. Yeah. So ayun. So while dead mother is taking care of her cats, I will kidnap the stream. So yeah. There is another setting in Savage World called Savage Tunkatsu, which I want to run. It is if you know your Japanese stuff, Tonkatsu is where a lot of the Kamen Rider and Sentai genre come from. So yun setting ng book na yun is or that Tonkatsu. So you can have power suits uh and then you can also have transforming ano to, power suits. And then you can also have one bio, the big robot that you connect to it like Voltus 5, then fight kaiju.
Okay, I'm back. I just need to
Hello,
hold my
welcome back to Argus play.
TTRPG. Yes. Sorry, I just have to hold my cat for a bit. Uh,
No problem.
Alright, so I guess like you mentioned the combat as something they need to
Ay, yeah,
improve on.
tokusatsu, not tonkatsu. Sorry. Oh my God. So I'm sorry, Mars, because I was explaining that there was a setting called uh, Savage Tokusatsu, not Tonkatsu. Tonkatsu is
Tonkatsu.
the food, guys.
Yeah,
Okay, I know. I mean, a mistake.
yeah. I kept getting
That's
hungry
true.
when you said tonkatsu. Yeah,
Ah,
it's dinner time
oh,
for some people. Don't forget to
oh nga,
eat.
no?
Yeah.
Oo.
Oh,
Imagine if it's a restaurant where you can play RPGs.
yeah. So
Savage Tonkatsu.
I have a quick question though,
Uh-huh.
um, like in just to move through, like character creation might be a little detailed, but you mentioned about traits and stuff. Like, what are the
Uh-huh.
unique parts of character creation in Savage Worlds compared to like the known systems like 5e, through Pathfinder? What are like the known unique parts of character creation in Savage Worlds?
Uh, Basically, most of the character creation of um, Savage Worlds is typical point-based pa rin. Um, and then again, unlike D&D, it has Savage Worlds has edges and hindrances.
Mm-hmm.
I think PBTA has um, advantages. I think I completely forgot about uh, um,
I know
uh,
that PBTA kind of works with playbooks. Like they have playbooks.
yeah, yeah. So you're stuck with ano to, you're stuck with the playbook, right?
Mm-mm.
Um in Call of Cthulhu ba, ganun din ba?
Uh,
Does it have like uh can you create characters wherein na from zero? Kasi kung playbooks like or classes in D&D, you don't start at zero eh,
yeah.
right?
for Call of Cthulhu, kasi its uniqueness is the occupations,
Ah,
because like your occupation would determine what kind of skills you have and
ah,
everything, and like there's like distinctions on like in 5e and stuff. No one cares if you went to like magical school or whatever. In
ah,
because Call of Cthulhu is more on the realism, so it's like like
yeah,
education is important, intelligence is
uh,
important. If you're older, it'll affect your stats. So those are the
yeah.
unique parts for Savage Worlds.
In
I
Savage Worlds naman,
Yeah.
it's more open. So you start at zero, completely zero with your character. So you can create a Japanese like one of the characters I have who's actually here in the chat, Patrick, who
Hi,
created
Patrick.
a Chinese martial arts master in a weird West setting.
Yeah.
Okay, and he started at zero, zero. I mean, um, in character creation, he didn't follow a a playbook or a set of classes. Okay? Uh, he just decided na, sige, I'll have martial arts and powers. You know, that's what I want for my character. So you can start at zero and be almost anything that you want, depending on what the setting is and if the GM allows your character in the setting itself. Another thing is creating powers. So in in D&D, um, you are stuck with the powers that like a druid has. So level 1 druid spells. Yun lang magagawa mo. You can't change those spells or ano to. You can only change how they look or how you role play the spells, but basically uh basically uh um they do the same thing. Even
Mm,
if let's say you got the same spell several times, it's going to be the same thing. But in Savage Worlds, you can customize your spells in a way that they have different types of effects,
mm,
but they are of the same power. Let's say there's a power called blast. So you can use like our again si ano to si Patrick, he has this character um almost like avatar style martial arts siya. So he can use blast in different elements. Right? And that's just a single type of power. So you can get it
mm,
4 times pero different yung effects niya. And
mm,
then I think you can do this in mage and in vampire. Um, Also in D&D, I think you can do this, diba? You can up your spell slot
yeah.
when you use a certain spell, right? In Savage Worlds, your powers you can also do that with adding
Upcasting.
power points to casting the spell. So
Mm,
let's say if the power costs around four uh four four power points, and the power has a description wherein if you add 2 more points, this happens. If you add 3 more points, this happens. So that's one of the
well, like
awesome
spell
things that I like.
factors, like since you played Mage before, there's like this thing called spell factors. Like if you cast an Arcana spell, like you could affect like
Uh-huh.
the range, AOE, the how many targets. Is
Yes,
that what
yes,
PowerPoint?
yes, yes.
Okay,
Uh,
so it
so you
adds
can
to the factors. Hmm.
yeah, it can add to that. It adds to that nga. That's one of the things that I like about character creation in the basic Savage Worlds, because in other settings they use magic in a different way also.
Mm,
They have fatigue.
mm.
I think in vampire meron nun, di ba? You lose blood naman.
Vitae. Yeah.
Vitae, yeah, you lose vitae.
Yeah.
So
It's a
yeah, those are the ones that I like about character creation.
So, Paolo said it's new World of Darkness, something similar to Edges and Hindrances for both min-maxing and roleplay guidance.
Yeah.
Is Edges and Hindrances kind of like tilts and conditions, or it's like completely different? Because there's like the conditions that you would get in roleplay that you would have the
Mhm.
shaken condition. Ganun. Is that what Edges and
No,
Hindrances are?
edges and hindrances are like your advantages and disadvantages in World of Darkness.
Mm,
Uh, wherein, let's say one of your hindrance is you have glasses on. You have glasses. So
mm,
if you use a notice roll and you fail it, there is a possibility that um, uh, something happens to you because you know you can't see very well, parang ganon. So those are hindrances. uh for me, the way I explain it to my players, hindrances are your character prompts. So it tells you how you play your character. So
mm.
because sometimes, you know, you can always say, "Oh, I'm wearing glasses," pero if you take off your glasses, there's no disadvantage of you taking it on and off,
Mm-mm.
right? Let's
But
say
there's an
you go
actual
to
effect in
a
game.
yeah, in Savage Worlds, you can actually have a effect, mechanical effect on you with your hindrance. Edges um are automatically, they are advantages that help you in lots of situations depending on the edge, in combat, social, and yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's what edges and hindrances are. So they help you also build a more uh uh ano to, well-rounded character, or a well-deformed character depending on what you are creating. You know,
Yeah.
you
It
can
kind of
be
it kind of reminds me of GURPS because like GURPS has like these advantages, disadvantages, and quirks,
uh
and like in disadvantages is like you can literally put in you're an alcoholic. You can put in like
yeah, yeah, there
mga
is
ganun
in
no,
Savage Worlds, meron din yan.
yeah, like and then like if ever you're easily shaken, you have post combat shakes, and there's also like you're short tempered, but you could also put
Meron yan.
advantages. You could put
You're quick to
advantages like you're
anger,
per you're empathetic, like you understand people's pain, per nagbuisit ka din, yung mga ganun na.
or you're young, you're old, you
Oo.
know. Sometimes you can always role play those characters, but those type of characters, but with hindrances and you're old and you know, you're legally
Frail.
blind or
Oh yeah.
frail. Yeah, exactly. Those are your hindrances. So you get to know how to play your character better.
Yeah. It's actually, and it has a mechanic to it. That's actually cool. Paulo said,
Yeah,
I usually take slow or fat. Wait, there's a fat hindrance in Deadlands?
yeah. There is a fat hindrance in
Easier for me to
actually
relate to as
it
a
in
player.
Savage Worlds meron yan.
Oh, okay. So,
It's
like,
easier for me to relate to as a
can you
player.
get as many edges and hindrances, or there's only like a specific amount you can get at character creation?
Oh, from what I remember, you know, honestly, I haven't created a lot of characters yet. But the few ones I've done, um, you can get, ayan o, sabi ni Patrick, up to 4 points of hindrances. Okay.
Ah,
But that depends also when you have advances, you know, experience points to
mm,
up the level of your character already on
on
character
character
creation.
creation. Okay, all
Yeah.
right. Cool. So like so that you can does the hindrances give you more points to add on edges or like to your
Yeah.
attributes?
Yeah, meron siyang ano to, meron siyang
Oh.
additional points for ano to, for that can give you more traits, skills, and edges.
So you're
Sometimes
incentivized to get
you'll
more
need,
hindrances.
yeah, sometimes you'll get more hindrances so that you can get this certain edge that you want. Yeah,
Mm.
ganun. So,
Ah,
pwede pa rin siya for players who want to min-max. Yun nga lang, once you min-max a character because you just wanted that, sometimes the character's lopsided, but players always make do with what they
it's like
or
for
what
the
they
role
create.
play.
Yeah, for the role play, for the monsters that they have created.
That's actually cool. So that's a cute, cool, unique thing. It's somewhat similar to GURPS, but also interesting that it kind of helps. You can either make like a very like unstable character or like a well
Yeah,
balanced one.
exactly.
Up to
You can
you.
actually you can make a super unbalanced type of character, but somehow they work right out really well.
Yeah. So I'll just given that I'm gonna leave it to one question for now, because like you have been sharing a lot of like memorable moments in your table, sprinkled in between your storyline. So, um, I want to ask, since you've actually dedicated a lot of time introducing people to the system, running a
Uh,
campaign for it, how has Savage Worlds shaped your GMing style?
oh, a lot. Um, One, because of Savage Worlds, I was able to move from more narrative GMing to tactical GMing in one session. Uh, in in some games in PBTA, uh, what I don't like about PBTA so much is that their combat, their narrative style is phenomenal, but when it comes to combat, it's kind of ano to, especially coming from D&D, the complexity of of action, of your actions are not that ano to. But in Savage Worlds, you get that, you know. Um, so Savage was able to give me both narrative and tactical style of GMing in one session. I was able to uh, I was able to learn the use of cards for narrative games. There is a supplement for Savage Worlds called Quick Grids, um, wherein um, you consider each card a room in a dungeon, or
Yeah.
a in a dungeon or in a building, etc. And then something happens in that. Um, and that's baked, and they were able to use that in Savage Worlds. So now I use that regularly. Um, uh, and then what else? I like I was able to learn how to use the word intention and stop muna or pause. So intentions is when players want to do something. When it's their turn, they want to do something. They describe everything, but sometimes they get their they over elaborate on what they want to do, and they forget the intention of what they're trying to do. So that um, I asked what their intention is, so that we can find out what type of skill he's going to use, and what um, uh, bonuses or minuses he will have for that ano to, for that action. Um, uh, what else? The other one is stop or pause muna, is mostly when I'll be able to uh, stop a character while in role playing mode to move to another character in tactical mode. And in Savage World, I was able to, like I said, I was able to um, smoothly move from that type of GMing within just one session.
Actually
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, so I really like I really enjoy hearing the, especially the intentions part, because like um be it as a player or GM, may kasalanan tayo minsan na parang in the moment, like I want to do everything, the stress of the boss,
Yes,
ganyan.
exactly.
So
Yes, I
like
know.
knowing the intention, or like what is it that you want to do?
Uh,
Like let's simplify it so we can reach your goal, kind
or-
of thing.
yeah.
That's actually nice. And
I have this one player who likes to he likes to experiment with his role playing. I love it. But sometimes he like what you said, he ano to he
nadadala sa emosyon.
yes, nadadala sila sa emotion or whatever's happened to the stress or whatever. They get to role play everything already, and then I tell them, so ano intention mo to? What's really going to
Like,
happen?
what's your end goal
Ay,
for this?
oo nga, di ba? After like 2 minutes of role playing, so what's your intention? So yeah,
It grounds
uh,
them, yeah.
so it grounds them, and then um, usually I wouldn't ask that if it was in other systems because there wasn't a lot of penalties or bonuses that some games they don't give those like D&D usually you get a disadvantage for that. You get an advantage for that. So that's just it, right? In Savage Worlds, before you roll, which also again comes from the digital uh, um, side of Savage Worlds in Roll20, lalabas yun, it automatically asks you for a modifier. So, na yun, when when that started coming up in games, I realized na nasa start ko rin yun. Ano nga intention mo? Kasi nga, hindi nila alam ano ilalagay nilang bonuses or penalties. So once that pops up, then they ask, ay, ano yung penalties and bonuses? Ano yung bonus ko? Ano yung penalty ko? Eh ano ba intention mo?
Yeah,
So that's when that happens.
yeah,
So that's when I started learning how to use intentions a lot.
yeah. That's actually cool. So, Paolo has one more question. Uh, when you ran the superhero one shot, was that your first time using the story grid mechanic?
Um Actually I think I've run it like twice before that time. Yeah. But I'm still learning it. Um I've adjusted it a lot.
The story grid is the one you mentioned, the dungeon one? Is that the one?
Yeah, that's a supplement. Supplement siya. Uh
Okay.
it uses cards for ano to, for the dungeon itself.
Okay.
So yeah, mga second time ko to run it.
All right. So yeah, again, we're closing up now on session 6 of
Right.
tabletop RPG Dogs. Woo! Savage
Hey.
World. Sorry, arrived late. It is okay because if you didn't catch the live stream, there will be a highlighted VOD of me and Arj just casually talking about Savage Worlds, going on an adventure, learning about character creation, all the unique mechanics. Ang dami din napag-usapan. I didn't know you guys were college mates. Oh my god!
Wow,
Alam ko na.
college mate.
College mates
And
pala.
ano to?
Small world.
And And I'd like to like shout out to Jay, who is Pointyman 2000.
Yeah.
Um, he is the one who started me on the road from Deadlands to Savage Worlds.
Ah, siya yung
So
drug
siya
dealer
ang ano,
mo then.
ah, ah, ano to, TTRPG Bugaw.
Ikaw talaga, Jay. Like everyone, like you've been everybody's drug dealer, eh? Eh?
Bugaw yan eh.
Stop making me sound like you're not a criminal. You're just a very very effective pusher. I'm good at profiling.
Oo nga eh, 'no? Alam na alam mo eh. I think Arch will like this. Mars will also like this.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Very nice. But yes, thank you, Jay, for introducing us to
Uh,
our
th-
drugs of choice.
Thank you very much, Jay.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah,
Ayan.
for those who are just catching the tail end of the stream, don't you worry. I will highlight session six. You guys will get to hear RJ and I if you want to go through
May blips
um
ba nun? May blips? Wala pa rin,
blip
wala.
blip wala
Wala
wala.
'no?
Isipin mo na lang may blips din. So like
Use your imagination.
yeah, just when you hear numbers, bleep bleep bleep. But yeah, you can hear about Arj's origin story, everything we've talked about in this particular session and the VODs if you didn't catch it. And if you guys have any more further questions about Savage Worlds, you can always reach out to Arj in Arj Game Room. I'm sure he's open to questions on all things Savage Worlds. If you guys want to try out Savage Worlds, then if my opening after the birthday month, sali kayo.
Yeah, actually, during the birthday month, I'll be asking for June and June na. Yeah.
Yeah,
Di ba
if you
I ask you also to run, you're going
yeah.
for Call of Cthulhu? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I can try running the one shot ko sa ano mo.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Oh man, I
feature.
would love that.
I would pwede feature yung one go. Pwede. Yeah, maya ako.
Yeah, sige, let's talk about
Yes, yes. So yeah,
deal to deal.
it was really fun having you here. Like it's been fun. It was like really chill and like
Thank you.
minsan ka pa yung and like nakakapagod mag-English minsan. So masaya masaya mag-Tagalog.
That's minsan you just have to like say it in Tagalog. I don't
Yeah.
know. It has
No,
more.
there are just moments na parang sige English but it's something else if you say it in you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Especially if you're talking to a Filipino and then you say it in Filipino. That's just this slight. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's like it's almost same brain kind of thing. GM Inuman, go, yeah, let's go. Pwede, pwede.
Pwede.
So yeah, I mean, pwede GM Inuman just hang out and then
No, we
drink
can
the
do
night
that next
away.
time.
Yeah, but yeah, advance happy birthday to you, and
Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
I
Mars.
guess any last words to people in chat or anything before we end the sesh? Meron kang final thoughts? Anything related to Savage
Uh,
Worlds or your philosophy in TTRPGs?
um, I think, well, first, pa-plug ko muna yung site ko. So, visit me at Argus Game Room at in YouTube. I have all my streams right there. They are raw, so there's not it's not edited. So it's 5 hours of each games to 6 hours. So if you guys wanna check out how I run games, that's the best place to go to. Um, and then in if you visit Argus Game Room in Facebook, I have my schedules there. If you guys want to join up in any of my games, I do every Saturday from 5 o'clock. Ay, five o'clock tuloy. 9 o'clock to 2 a.m. and beyond. The last game we played, we I think we ended around 4 a.m. ata. Okay. Um, try for all those who might be listening in a first time or not, try TTRPGs. Try not to stick to one game. Try if you're into D&D, try other fantasy. If you don't want modern, try other fantasy games. If you're into horror, there are other also games out there. Um, there are games that like si Toby who has tried a ton of different stuff,
So
and I
much.
can't imagine how all of those systems are just um like a soup of alphabet soup just going around his head, and he can just pick it out. Oh, this is from this system. This is, oh, I can run this, blah blah blah. You know, um, uh, try a lot of other systems. And don't be shy in joining new groups, new people, meet new people, and don't be shy in also leaving those if you need to. Yeah, those are my ano to, those are my suggestions
Yeah.
and words of wisdom from
Yes.
Argus Game.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
Arj, for
thank you
those
very
final
much.
words for the session 6. And again, thank you guys to all those listening. Wow, this is like I will say the biggest crowd we've had on
Oh,
record.
really? Wow. Hello, everyone.
Like, oh my god, thank you. It's like one of the biggest crowds we've had for TTRPG talks, which is cool.
Awesome.
I think
It's so great to be able to help to be in that
yeah.
your first one and not the last one, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, this might be the final because I don't know what's gonna be for the season finale. We're still figuring out what that is. But if this
Well,
is the
after
last,
that, I'm sure you're still going to do it.
yeah, there might be
I'll
season
be
three.
waiting.
Season
Yeah,
three.
definitely. I'll be
Let's
waiting for it.
go. Yeah,
100%.
yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in.
You know what?
Yeah.
Before you go, I just want to say that you're doing something great
Oh.
by interviewing GMs and introducing different types of systems.
Oh.
A lot of us, um, don't get to express our feelings or what we know about, to get to talk about it to other people and other people listening in. So
Yeah.
it's awesome.
It's damay damay lang.
Ah,
Damay damay lang. Like
halika dito.
you will learn with me. I will not be alone.
Uh,
Yeah.
you are part of the group. You're in our cult now.
Yes, you're indoctrinated into the TTRPGs. You guys will try these systems now. That's all part of the plan. But
Oh my
yeah,
god. I love the plan.
yes, we shall spread the love of TTRPGs one way or another. But yes, thank you guys again for watching. We're gonna raid out to I think we're just gonna raid out to Kuya Omega. He's also a Filipino and he sings. He's part of a
Oh wow.
band. Yeah,
Awesome.
he's currently playing Yakuza. Um, so we'll say hi, hello to him. So hi to a fellow Filipino. You know, yes.
Yakuza, is that the latest Yakuza game?
He's playing Yakuza 3 Remastered, so he's playing the old
Oh,
ones. Because he played
remastered.
Yakuza 0 and I think Yakuza 2, so no, he's just going through the progression right now. So, um, use
I always
the
wanted
raid.
to play Yakuza.
It's really fun. I tried 0. I
Uh,
just, I'm a,
ah,
yeah, the 0 one's really like, for me, I'm just a fan of the Yakuza Mafia kind of storyline, so. But yes, send these raid messages. You guys can copy paste when you go to Kuya Omega. And if you're subbed, you can use raid number 3. Oh, oh, I have future raid consider. Wait, wait. Who is it? Who will I follow? Hold the horsey. Wait, speak now. But I can
and
cancel.
hold your
Is he? Are they online right now? Do you?
oh
Hello, hello,
no.
hello, 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 hello. The
Hala.
suspense is
I think
killing
there's like
me.
a hala. Baka
Hello,
mamaya mabunggo si Paula.
hello.
Nagda-drive pala.
Wala, wala. Sige. If ever
Bawal yan, Paolo.
send
Ah.
it to
Don't.
me, send it to me in,
Uh,
Wait!
ayan yan,
Small
meron
World
na.
of J! Yeah, I follow them! Yes! Are they streaming right now? I didn't know. Wait lang. I'll cancel for that. are they, are they streaming right now? I'll
Is that
tanong.
J as in RJ? J? Is that another J?
Is this the same J that's a teacher that has a really cool board game setup sa likod niya? Is this the same dude?
Oh.
Is this the same dude? Yes, he's streaming.
Oh, cool.
Okay, as as Paolo suggested, sige, we can raid. Buti na na-cancel. Yes, habol. Yeah, don't forget to send the raid messages, raid 1, raid 2, or if you're sub, you can use raid number 3. So, we shall raid out to ano. Sorry, Kuya Omega,
Raid
I'll
out.
raid you next time. Lagi ka naman naglalaro. Okay, bye guys. I'll see you guys in the next tomorrow. I'll be doing a deep dive lore in Limbus Company for my God Machine Chronicle campaign. If you guys want to see like the prep and learning about the lore of Limbus and how I'm gonna incorporate that to the campaign, you guys tune in to Recap Wednesdays tomorrow. But yes, thank you, Arj. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you
Thank you very much.
guys.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.